Now time for our segment called Sports and the Law, and that means Steve Moskowitz, our legal analyst, joins us here to talk all about things sports and legal issues, I guess. And this is what's really interesting. Daily fantasy sports sites, I mean, they have just exploded on the scene, but there are more than 36 lawsuits filed against FanDuel as well as DraftKings. And the latest one that has been filed in the U.S. District Court in Southern Florida is going to add professional sports leagues as defendants. We're talking about the NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, and Major League Soccer. Not the NFL, however, as they are not associated with these daily sports sites yet. But the lawsuit claims this is illegal internet gambling. So what really constitutes that? What basis does this class action lawsuit using?
That's what there's going to be a lot of fights over. Because what's happened is the federal law says, look, there was an exemption here, but it doesn't stop states. And what happens is Florida has a much stricter law than here in California or in New York. But the problem with the lawsuit in Florida, it's way overreaching. For example, they even brought in Visa and MasterCard. And essentially what they're saying is somebody in another state did something that would be illegal under Florida law, so you owe us money. So what's going to happen is the judge may very well throw out the whole thing or say, look, these pieces should be out because Visa, MasterCard is going to come in and say, not me. I want out of here, I shouldn't be here. And then they're going to fight. Or the judge may say, look, you're going to have to draft it more narrowly. Okay, well, we do know that New York and the Attorney General in New York has ruled these sites illegal in that state. And so is this going to have to be decided on a state-by-state basis? Because a lot of them are using that 2006 federal law. Well, it's going to depend because, first of all, is the Congress in their infinite wisdom going to come in? Because when they wrote that law, it was before FanDuel. And also, it got so big. And again, they're fighting over, is it skill or is it chance? And there's so many arguments. For example, a good poker player will say, hey, that's skill, and they're going to fight over that. And again, in the states, there's different standards. In Florida, they talk about if chance has any part of it. Here in California, it says, well, it's got to be most of it. In New York, it says, oh, it has to be a significant piece of it, so it's all over the map. And this really does need some type of federal to step in and say, look, here's the standard, especially it's gotten so big. I
think the one thing that stands out for me, like card counting is illegal in gambling and stuff, and so a lot of casinos outlaw that. But I know what some people claim with FanDuel and with DraftKings is that you have these players that have software or that have inside knowledge that give them the advantage. So it's not a level playing field for everyone to have skill if you know what everyone else is doing, and that's only a few people are privy to that.
That's what really exploded this, because you have employees playing on the other site and saying, well, I use my data bank, and therefore, that's where people come and say, hey, you cheated me. It wasn't, forgive me, and a level playing field. What's happened is you had all that specialized knowledge, just like with stock. You can't do insider trading. That's when all this hit. Before, it wasn't, oh, is it skill, is it luck? That's what caused the big deal.
That and probably the $500 billion is being spent every year on the
Now, that's another point. For example, Nevada said, hey, this is our business. You're cutting into our business. Come on.
I think that's probably the bigger issue. All right, on to the
money usually is, Mindy.
Absolutely. Now, this is kind of interesting. So Major League Baseball, obviously we've seen fans that have been hurt, you know, by foul balls or maybe a splintered bat that goes into the stands. So an Oakland A's season ticket holder is suing Major League Baseball and has named all 30 teams as defendants. So she claims that the league needs to extend protective netting at all ballparks. Well, she has never been injured herself. She's
in 45 years of being a season ticket holder. That's a pretty good record.
So she has never been hurt herself, but she sees this as an issue. So she has added 2 other plaintiffs onto that, what could be a class action lawsuit, and they were injured. But really, if your goal is to go ahead and try and get Major League Baseball to be safer and add more of this netting, which the commissioner is looking into, is this the best way to go about it with a lawsuit? Is that how you force an organization?
Even though I'm an attorney, I wouldn't start there. Now, first of all, yes, as you said, the league is looking about possibly expanding it, but it depends physically on the ballpark how you're going to do that. And the next thing is, what you have to remember is she's saying, well, okay, I'm afraid after 45 years, that next ball is coming for me. But how many fans go into the ballpark and say, my greatest dream is to catch a foul ball? That is the important part of the game. And if you put this netting up, you're going to take away my favorite part, not to mention the fact maybe block some other view. So now you have something that's competing rights, you have to take a look at that very carefully. And she could also protect herself by sitting in a different area.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We only have 30 seconds left, but what can major league teams do then to protect themselves? Because they say, hey, if you sit in these areas, you have to be aware of what's coming your way.
On the ticket, they say you're responsible for it, and they've been successful in basically almost all the time when somebody has been injured and saying, no, no, that's not our fault. So they've been very successful in the past.
Okay, your favorite thing to eat for Thanksgiving?
Turkey.
Turkey? Wow, that was easy. Okay, your favorite side?
Pumpkin pie.
He's got the pumpkin pie tie.
Well, of course, we had to be in the spirit of things, Mindy.
Absolutely. Steve Moskowitz, thank you so
Always
much
a
for
pleasure.
being here. It's always great to have some time to talk about sports and the law. All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Sports Talk Live. Jim Cosmo will be back after the vacation. We certainly wish you and yours a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. Take care, and we'll catch you tomorrow.